kind of talking through / giving my opinions of, what has happened with Alabama recruiting thus far. We talked a little bit about recruiting last episode, and kind of two big takeaways, right, when you talk about recruiting, is that this season DeBoer has recruited better than a lot of pundits, so to speak, thought he was going to, right? If you've heard Josh Pate talk about that, Josh Pate looks at it as, he thinks that anyone that thought DeBoer was going to be unable to recruit based solely on the fact that he wasn't doing it at Washington was just being short-sighted, and that, there's a potential circumstance where DeBoer, wasn't even going after certain guys that he knew he wasn't going to be able to get while he was at Washington. I think some of that may be coming to fruition. I think there also is a standpoint that Nick Saban left an incredibly good infrastructure in place that allows you to find, get in contact with, and scout some of the best talent in the country. I think it also has to do with Courtney Morgan and all of the people that DeBoer has brought in to be able to help manage the NIL standpoint, to be able to manage the creative standpoint, to be able to manage everything that comes with recruiting in today's college football. I don't think that it's just a standpoint of, hey, somebody wasn't doing well and now they are. I think it's a concerted effort of DeBoer understanding, if you're going to compete at the highest level at the University of Alabama, yes, you're going to have to do well on the game days. You're going to have to be a good game day coach. You're going to also have to recruit, right? At the end of the day, the fans require it. Honestly, the teams require it in order for you to be able to have the best possible potential. Nick Saban obviously was a great game day coach, but he had some of the best players, and it honestly starts there, right? If you don't have some of the best players, it's going to be hard to win those games. And I think one of the big things that when you're looking at, how they've been able to recruit at this level, and it was kind of the creative piece that they decided for this summer, you may have seen a decent number of photos coming out of these recruiting visits, and it's all about cold summer, right? Cold summer is the theme for this year for recruiting, and something you'll notice is there's been a lot of hockey jerseys. And if it's confusing to you because you're like, Alabama has a hockey team, well, that's actually what I want to talk about. And like I said, this article, and I'm going to have it linked in the show notes of this video. So if you are interested in reading the whole article, I really recommend it. Tony Scala is put down on Tide Illustrated with Rivals. Like I said, definitely recommend reading the whole article. But I'm going to quote a few comments that were in there through this. And like I said, if you are interested in reading the whole thing, give it a read. But so the information is basically that what happened when it comes to the hockey team is there was a hockey player by the name of Joe Hughes, and he's a junior with the university, and he's one of the goalies. And he basically was trying to figure out a way to get more visibility to Alabama's club hockey team. And the way that he thought to be able to get visibility to the club hockey team was have some level of partnership with football, which for anyone that has ever done anything related to the University of Alabama or gone to school here, that's obviously everyone's first thought is, oh, the football team has tons of fans, has tons of people that are interested, has tons of people that watch its everything that it does. If I can have some level of connection with the football team, it will help. And so he began thinking, hey, what can I do to potentially partner with the football team? And he was able to get introduced to a guy by the name of Robbie Pirano, who is an associate director for recruiting for the university. And he told him about the cold summer being the current kind of theme for this season. And the cold summer, Walt Brock, who's the director of creative, said that from a and this is his direct quote from that article, from a cold standpoint, it was more that we're going to surprise a lot of people. We're going to flip a lot of guys. Instead of it being a hot summer, it's more of a cold summer because our guys are going to surprise you. So then they got to talking, and Brock kind of immediately knew that this was a perfect connection because his other quote goes, obviously they had the script A jersey, but when I saw the one that had Frozen Tide on it, after I saw it was like, oh man, this is meant to be. We always want to do different things with our recruits. From a fashion standpoint right now, it's kind of in. A lot of people are wearing hockey and lacrosse jerseys, so it's been a huge hit. They really added the additional flair to the recruiting weekends and put an emphasis on the cold summer, right? So the reason, like I said, the reason I want to mention this is a standpoint, and it's something that you're seeing current players, that are kind of buying into. It's seeing something that you're seeing the creative team put stamps of approval on. The incoming recruits love it. It's honestly, and this is a completely different thing, but it's similar to Roll Tide Willie, right? And the reason I say that is no matter what the average fan thinks of Roll Tide Willie, or no matter what the average fan thinks of the football players wearing hockey jerseys and ski goggles, the recruits and the current players like it. So if the recruits and the current players like it, then it's something that they're going to want to do, right? The team is taking advantage of, and having this be truly player-led, right? So they're taking the feedback from what the recruits and what the players enjoy and don't enjoy, right? This is a standpoint where, obviously this is something that Courtney Morgan and Walt Brock and Robbie Prano were able to put together and, say, hey, this is kind of our thoughts for cold summer, and I'm sure there were discussions with players and then recruits like, hey, this is what we're thinking. And now you're seeing most of the recruits, and I would venture to say almost all of them, including Justice Hill, who recently committed, and he wasn't actually mentioned last episode. I completely forgot to mention him. But Alabama pulls him off from in-state Ohio State. He commits to Alabama, one of the top edges in this upcoming class. But, in his commitment was a post with the Frozen Tide jersey. A lot of these guys, the post that they're posting, the photos that they're sharing from their official visits are wearing the hockey jerseys. So clearly the recruits enjoy it, right? Clearly this is hitting a spot where the recruits enjoy the idea of cold summer. They want to join the movement. They like what DeBoer and Courtney Morgan are preaching, and it's something that they want to be a part of, right? And I know that is at least a decent part of how they've been able to be so successful in this short period of time. Like I said, I am going to be interviewing some guys coming up here in the coming weeks, and they're going to give us a little bit more insight as to, specifically how DeBoer was able to kind of lock down some of these higher profile guys, whether it be the flip with Keon Russell or, just how they've been able to knock down currently the number 2 overall recruiting class, because coming into this season and coming into the position that DeBoer was in, he was under a shortened time frame because many of the players that he was recruiting were not players he was recruiting while at Washington. And obviously some of the guys that were previously committed or were looking at Alabama thinking they were going to be playing for Nick Saban. When now you're not going to be playing for Nick Saban and you're going to be playing for Kalen DeBoer, it's a completely different coaching style. It's a completely different coaching staff. It's a completely different offense and defense, right? So it's a standpoint of you have to fully convince these players from the start of, hey, this is why we still want you to come to Alabama. And this is why we still think you're a good fit, right? And so, I really want to talk to some people. Like I said, I really think that the information coming out soon will be something that everyone is interested in. If anyone also is interested, I have been putting out some articles on the Substack. Most recently, the articles on the Substack are breaking down all of the newcomers for the Alabama basketball team. There have been 2 articles come out so far with Houston Mallett and Chris Youngblood. I'm going through all of the transfers first, Those episodes are coming out every Tuesday. My plan is to have these YouTube videos coming out every Wednesday. And so if you are interested in that, please subscribe to the Substack for the article write-ups. Please subscribe to the YouTube channel for all of these videos. And like I said, if there is anything else that you are interested in hearing or seeing me do a write-up for or a video about, please send it to me. I'm happy to do the video. I'm glad everyone's enjoying the content. And if you do have any other questions, please reach out. But if not, I will see everyone in the next video. Peace.